Go.
How you doing? This is the second episode of the Blacks in Technology. In this episode, we're talking about labs. Earlier, we saw Greg's lab. Now, welcome to my lab. My lab is a little bit more smaller and crammed in because my lab is actually in a storm room. My house is a little bit of older house, and it had these storm rooms where it's all bricked in. But I'm going to give you a quick little tour of my lab. Here I have a few shelves, a few Cisco switches and routers from when I used to study for the CCNA Cisco stuff. Then here's another switch, a couple blade servers I have, and a bunch of computers that I'm using for servers. They all have various versions of Linux on there. I like to load a bunch of different Linux servers to test out their package management system, see what they have to offer. Here's my firewall here on the end. Actually, it actually has a Starl Linux on there for my firewall. Then over here is a desktop where I have Microsoft XP on there. I do a lot of security hacking testing against the desktop. You know, Microsoft has tons of vulnerabilities to test against. Then, on the other side over here is actually where I have my laptop, which is my main notebook, which is a Mac PC. Then I have Backtrack on this laptop where I'm testing out their pen testing stuff. My flat panel either can connect to my Mac notebook or I have it connected to my KVM switch, which helps me manage all these guys here. This box up here is my VoIP server. As you see right here, I have a voice over IP phone where I can actually call my cell phone.
Please enjoy the music while your party is reached.
As you see, it's calling me. It says my house number. So everything is actually going through this little server right here. And it's based off the Asterisk PBX system. So that's pretty much a quick little tour of my lab and what I have and various computers running Linux.
That's great. I'm going to ask you a few questions about your lab. How long did it take you to put this lab together?
It's been taking me quite a bit of time, and actually I started out when I was probably around 14, 15 years old, and I've just been acquiring equipment, some equipment that I've already thrown out, and I mean it took some time. It wasn't overnight. It definitely took some time and patience, and fortunately I do a lot of stuff with Linux, so I don't need a lot of power to power up some of my stuff. It's not like I'm running a business or enterprise off these machines. I'm just trying to grasp the concept of stuff, and this works perfectly for that.
How many actual computers do you have in your lab?
I know I just got rid of a lot, but at a quick glance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Just from the look of it, it looks like over.
Yeah, I got 11 with 3 blade servers up there. So about 12 computers and 3 blades right now, and they all doing various things. I have like Snort running on one. I'm testing out a product called OSSIM, OSSIM, and which is pretty sweet.
What's been the most beneficial part of having a lab?
Most beneficial part is me being able to study. Me being able to test out stuff. If I want to understand how something works, I can come home and try it out in my home lab without having to mess anything up at work.
Okay, are there any certifications that you are currently studying for that your lab has become useful?
Definitely. I'm studying right now for the Certified Ethical Hacker Cert. I've been studying for that for quite some time. I have a pretty busy schedule, so it's hard for me to just really study, but I have my lab set up where I'm able to use a lot of the security tools that go with the Certified Ethical Hackers course, so I'm able to hack against my various different machines without having to hack outside of my network.
Great. What percentage would you say are Linux boxes and Windows boxes in your lab?
I have one Windows machine in my lab, which is the one I showed you earlier.
Okay. What and the rest of them are Linux?
Yep.
What distributions of Linux are you running?
I have some Debian, Ubuntu, some SUSE, Linux Enterprise, Red Hat Enterprise, the Backtrack, my Mac OS.
Great. Is there any last words you want to say out to the audience?
Not too much. You guys can take a quick look at my book collection, which pretty much the books I use as references. A lot of them I did read from cover to cover, but most of my research I do is online, so I can find a lot of good information online. But I've always found it useful to have certain books to get me started on a certain subject, because it's more organized versus getting pieces from this site, pieces from that site. So books is always a good starting point for me.
Good. Let's take a look at that right now.
Alright, you see here I have a few shelves of books here, various security books, some Linux and programming books on the second shelf. And on the end, as you would have saw, this was actually the Certified Ethical Hacking course material. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. Pretty much it's an encyclopedia of hacking tools. Down here we have various IT books, a lot of sci-fi books I like to read. One of my favorites I read was about IWAS, Steve Wozniak. He's a pretty cool, smart guy. And that's about it.
Great.
Right there. So, thanks for stopping by at my lab. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope this inspired many people to start a lab, to start studying if you really want to get into IT, and if you really want to get a good paying job and just actually know what it is that you're talking about. Get a lab. It helps out a lot.